Thank you to Boxu for sponsoring this video. More on them later. Today, I'm going to show you how to make this crazy useful Ranger's Cloak. Stay tuned. Greetings, adventurers, and welcome to Skill Tree, where we learn how to do just about everything. Now, not so long ago, I made this video on how to make kind of a cheap and easy Ranger's Cloak. And as we're rounding out the year, we actually asked our high tier level Patreon members what type of thing they'd like to see us cover again to see like how we do it differently. And that episode was their #1 pick, which is great because we are very much due to redo those cloaks. I use them every time we go to a LARP, and yeah, I think we can do a lot better now that I've worn them for a while. But I do still want to stick to the same parameters, cheap and easy. So let's see what we can do. Before I start though, my analytics say that roughly 60% of you who watch this regularly aren't subscribed. So if you could do me a solid and just hit that subscribe button, don't forget to ring the bell, that really helps out. All right, without much further ado, let's just jump right into this. All right, so in that last episode I did about this project, I actually just used like a cheap drop cloth from Harbor Freight or something that I treated to be waterproof. Now, since that drop cloth came at a very like neutral, just I think like a taupe kind of color, I ended up dyeing it, and then to waterproof it, I used beeswax, which although cheap and easy, I think we can do with better materials and actually have it be just as cheap and possibly even easier. So the material I'll be using for this is this wool blanket that I got from an Army Navy surplus store. For me, that blanket was about $25. But if you don't have an Army Navy surplus store near you, I listed some similar ones off of Amazon. And since I'm an Amazon affiliate, it helps us when you shop through our links. So if you want one, check those out. This blanket is super soft, breathable, and at 64 by 90 inches, it's like the perfect size for a cloak. I don't like my cloak going all the way down to the ground because I actually use them. I run around in the woods and I don't want to trip on them. But I find you need it to at least fall below your knee for this specific kind of Rowana cloak to be as effective as it could possibly be. And that was a problem I had with the past ones. They weren't long enough, so when I'd go to like drape them over my head to have this kind of hood effect, they were too small, so they'd fall just like barely covering my head, and they wanted to fall off a lot. Wool is the perfect material for a cloak. Let me explain why. Wool is actually a really cool material to work with. So in my little drawing here, this is your body, this is your skin, and this represents the wool here. Because of the way the fibers in wool work, you're left with a lot of little air pockets. And just like with a sleeping bag, that air space in between is what actually insulates you from the temperature. Not only that, but wool is actually really breathable. So a lot of excess heat here manages to escape, carrying along with it a lot of like your moisture, wicking that away. This has a cool effect where on really cold days, it maintains enough body heat in here to keep you warm. But on really hot days, it's breathable enough and it's letting off enough of your moisture that it actually keeps you cooler than you would have been otherwise. And it's actually naturally water resistant, which we'll talk about more later on. Not only that, but it has a cool other effect too. So if you were to look at your own hair underneath a microscope, it'd look more like this. Kind of smooth, but little crags in it and all that. But wool actually looks a lot more like this one. It's got a lot more of those little crags. It acts as Velcro. It grabs onto itself. That means it's a lot less likely to like fray and come apart with time. Which also, I just thought was really cool. That's neat. Now, untreated wool is usually really waterproof, or at least water resistant, because of the lanolin, which is the oil that's naturally found in it. But since this blanket is 80% wool, and the 80% that is wool has probably been washed a few times, I'm gonna guess that a lot of that lanolin is actually not present any longer. Now, if you wanted to go the natural route, you could add lanolin back to it. You can buy raw lanolin for this. But for like ease of use and making this thing, I just decided to go with this Nick Wax Polar Proof. I've used this stuff before and I love it. I just tossed the blanket into my washing machine with some of that stuff, let it go through a cycle, and bam, we got some waterproofing. Like really, really great waterproofing. And the nice thing about this is it coats the fibers. It doesn't block all the little holes and stuff that make the fabric breathable, which makes it perfect for a cloak. All right, now that I have it waterproof, I just go through and remove any labels or anything I don't want onto this piece. Then it's time for cutting. Now, the nice thing about a Rowana cloak is it's a super simple design. It's basically like a poncho with a slice down the middle. And a poncho is basically a blanket with a hole in it. Perfect. So to get the size of the hole to fit my melon through, I just measured the circumference of my neck, which got me to 14 inches. But I think it's on like the smaller end of neck size. I gotta go to the gym. Got like a nipple on a rib going on here. Really need to work out. All right, we're gonna take that measurement and we're gonna cut it down to 1/4 of that measurement. So in my case, it's gonna be about 3.5 inches. Then I fold the blanket in half and then in half again the other ways, effectively quartering that blanket. Now when you fold things like that, there's gonna be like the center corner where everything is folding from. That little peak is the exact center of your sheet, which means it's exactly where I want the hole for my head to go. Now that 1/4 measurement from my neck measurement there is what we're gonna use to actually make that opening. To make it easier on myself, I just threw this fabric pencil onto this compass and measured it out that 3.5 inches. Then I stuck the little pin at the very top of that corner and used it to trace out my arc. Now when I cut out that little cone there, I end up with this perfect circle right in the very center of my blanket. Now if you don't have like a compass set up or anything, it's fine. Just measure out a piece of string that same like distance. Hold one end of the string at that corner and then just draw with the other end of the string. But trying this thing on, I love it. I love where it falls. I love how warm it is. It is winter and my workshop is not very well heated, so like I didn't want to take it off, to be honest. All we need now is the slice right down the middle of the front. Now you could take measurements to find that perfect center, but why? Just fold the blanket in half along that crease line and make marks right where the crease is. I put a pin at the top of that crease and the bottom of that crease, and then I opened it up and just lined up my yardstick along those 2 pins. This gives me a perfectly straight line right down the center of my sheet. After I cut down the middle, I just used this French curve to even out the transition from the neck hole down to that cut, taking away any of those sharp corners. Though I'm gonna stop calling it a sheet because it's officially a cloak. Look at how dope this thing is. And the cool thing about this design is you can kind of throw it around you, make a little hood, wrap it around like your shoulders to look more like a nobleman. There's a whole bunch of different ways you can wear a Rowana cloak, which makes it super versatile and just kind of fun to use, to be honest. Look at that thing, that's so cool. Now, if you remember in that last episode we were doing the cloak, I looked at how flammable the cloak was, and though it wasn't any more flammable with the wax on it, it was pretty flammable. But that's another cool thing about using wool, is it is flame retardant. It's far less flammable. Not impossible to get on fire, so don't start like hugging your campfire with it or whatever, but like it'd be significantly harder to light yourself ablaze with it. Now, although wool does have that cool property where it like wants to cling to itself, I still do want to kind of shore up these edges that I cut a little bit, just to make sure it doesn't fray too much. Real quick, before we get into how we're doing that, I just kind of want to show you this badass leather that I was able to get from Tandy. I'm showing you this now instead of later on when we want to use it, just so you can see why I went with this color of thread. It matches it like perfectly. I don't know, I just thought that was cool. I wanted you to know why I picked it. That's all. Now to sew this up, I'm actually just going to be using one of these blunted leather needles so that it's going in between the weave of the wool rather than like breaking through them. I just put that thread onto the needle, tie up both ends of the thread together so that we have this nice big knot at the end and the thread is doubled up and extra strong. Now, since I don't sew all the time and I don't trust my eye to be perfectly straight, I actually just laid down this piece of masking tape, roughly 1/4 inch from the edge, just to give me a nice straight line to work off of to start. So the stitch I'm gonna be using for this, I believe is called the blanket stitch, and it's actually dead easy. All we're gonna do is send it into the edge of our cloak here, and pull the thread all the way through until our knot catches. Then we're gonna bring that needle back around to the front and go right back through that same hole we just went through. Now we're gonna pull the thread until there's just a loop left and send the needle through that loop before tightening everything down. Now continuing on with this stitch, I'm gonna move about 1/4 inch further down my line, again pulling my needle through until there's this little loop left, then sending the needle through that loop before tightening it down. And that's it, that is the pattern. We just continue that over and over and over again. This reinforces that edge, leaving us with this neat row of stitches and this kind of rail of thread at the very top, helping to guard the very edge of your fabric. I thought that was really cool, and I think it looks kind of cool too. Though I think if I was gonna do this again, I would use slightly thicker thread. I think the original thread that was kind of around the edges of the blanket was a lot thicker than the one I'm using here, and I just kind of liked that chunkier look a little better. Okay, so the first bit of improvements we decided to do on that original design was changing the fabrics and then also changing the way we waterproofed it. But I didn't want that to be the only thing because there's a couple of other notes that I have about these cloaks here. The biggest gripe being when you wear a cloak is what to do with the cloak when you don't need it. Like there are times where out in the field and it's just too damn hot to have a cloak on. Or it just keeps getting in the way and I kind of want to put it down, but I can't just put it down and carrying it with me. I'm just draping it over my arm or it's just in the way, always in the way. So I wanted to make a way so that we can make it like a small, convenient little footprint, a tiny little package or gift of warmth, if you will. Speaking of little tiny package or gift, I want to show you guys something real quick. This is Boxu. What is Boxu, you may ask? It is a premium Japanese snack box. Snack box. These are really cool. They actually work with family businesses all across Japan to deliver a new themed box of authentic Japanese snacks every month. It comes with a seriously huge variety of snacks, like an incredible amount of snacks. As well, and this is my favorite part, it has a little like booklet that tells you about the snacks, some of the cultural significance. So you're not only like getting tasty treats, but you're learning more about the culture, which I love. I think that is the coolest touch. And as this is the gift giving season, I would love to get this as a gift. I think this is the coolest friggin' thing. If you do decide to, this is the Seasons of Japan box. It's the first box your person would get. And it's basically packed with the most popular snacks they offer. My favorite are these chocolate mochi truffles. Oh my God, they're so good. Oh. So if you want to give a truly unique gift and also support this channel, just click the link in the description below and use the code SKILLTREE to get $15 off your first order. Where was I? Oh yeah, we're trying to make the cloak so it's not such a pain in the ass to have around. My solution for this is to actually be able to roll it up, almost like a bedroll. I figure if we just fold it in quarters like we did before when we cut out the neck, and then fold it one more time, it'd be the perfect size to roll up. And honestly, it could be treated just like a bedroll. You can put stuff in there before you roll it up, and then like it'll carry your things too, which is also cool. To keep it rolled up, I just so happen to have these leftover leather straps from other projects. Now, I don't want to like solve one problem with another problem and start having to carry straps around with me everywhere I go. So I really want these things to be built into the cloak somehow. So I figured if you can just kind of pull them out like so from the bottom and then use them to wrap up the roll, that'd work out perfectly. And then somehow make it so you just kind of stow them away when you're not using them. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you. This took me an embarrassingly long amount of time to come up with how I wanted to do this, and I'm still not positive it's the best way. So if you think of any other ways, like let me know down in the description below. But what I came up with was first cutting these two pieces of leather to the length it would take to wrap around the roll with a little bit left over in case it needed to like have stuff in the middle there, right? Take up a little bit more space. Then I figured I'd take this other smaller piece of leather here and just wrap it around those straps so that they have a place to slide in and out of, but it can act as kind of a keeper. To make sure they don't fall out, I thought I could use these little Sam Browne buttons to not only act as a way that I can store them away afterwards, but on the other side act as a way to like actually close the bag up. Either which they're too big to fit through that little loop, so it'll act as a keeper as well. To make this happen, I just folded up those edges, punched a hole through them, and added a rivet to keep them into place. Then in order to actually attach that piece to the cloak itself, I just punched this little square of lace holes here to allow me to sew it right onto the cloak. Then I just added those Sam Browne buttons to what would end up being the inside of the cloak. And as you can see, it stops them from falling out, which is all I wanted to do. Now, since I have those buttons in place, I can use them as a way to keep them inside when I'm not using them. To do that, I just cut this little square of leather here with my buttonholes in it and position that so that the straps aren't like pulling up too much or that they're not like lagging down or getting in the way. After sewing that into place, you can see that these things attach directly to it and hide away really nicely in the cloak actually. I was afraid I'd feel them back there, but I really don't. And they're not at all in the way. As you can see when I open up the cloak, you can't even see them. So that actually worked out really well. Again, I think we can refine that a little bit, but I'm happy with that for now. That's pretty cool. And there's a sneaky little extra feature that this adds too. Because as you can see, once it's folded up, that little strip of leather there works like a handle. So all I had to do is pull out my straps, then roll up the blanket and wrap those straps around it. I use this as an opportunity to see where the ends of those straps land when it's really tight and punch holes there, so I knew where to place my very first buttonholes. With that good to go, my Sam Browne buttons lock into place, and check this little thing out. It's got a cute little handle. Everything stays together nice and tight. Though you'll see there, when I pick it up, because the strap that comes around isn't connected again to that handle space, the handle leather kind of pulls out of it a little bit. I didn't like that as much, so I decided to actually change out those internal Sam Browne buttons that connect to the back there for these D-rings here. This way, when it's closed back up, I can actually pass through those D-rings and it should keep everything pretty well lined up. Though, of course, now we don't have the buttons on the inside, right? So instead, I just kind of threaded this piece of cordage through those button holes, and now I tie up those D-rings into place, which I genuinely like better. Not only does everything lay a lot more flat, because those buttons did have like a little knob, right? I didn't really feel it, but you know, they were there. But now in order to take these off, I don't have to unbutton them. I can actually just reach up and grab that string and pull, and those will be free now. Just easier. I think that's kind of cool. Not only that, but I can actually use those D-rings now to hook onto, so I can use it as a strap for like around my back. I can connect it to my belt. It gives me so many more options. I like that. I think that's pretty cool. I'm kind of happy with that. Okay, so with all of those interesting little things solved, I wanted to do one last thing. You know I can't go a project without adding just a little extra of a leather touch to it. And I do have this really nice like clothing grade leather to use. And I figured one of the other things that I ran into a lot was the bottom of my cloak can catch on things. Like if we're going through brambles or something, the very bottom tend to like, you know, get snagged on stuff. And they also tend to get like dirty because it's closest to my feet. So I figured we just line the very like last 5 inches of them in leather. To do that, I just cut these 5-inch wide strips here and use my handy dandy tandy sewing machine to lock this in place. And look at how cool this is. Oh my God, I love it so much. Not only does that leather add that little extra protection, but it makes the very end of the tail there heavier. So when I wrap it around my head to use as a hood, it doesn't want to go anywhere. Gravity's pulling it more firmly into place, which is perfect. One of the problems I had with the last one was as I moved around, it kept sliding off my head. It didn't want to stay put. This one does not want to go anywhere. It's perfect. This cloak is comfortable, it's warm, it could be used as a blanket, it could be used as a bedroll, backpack type of thing. It's waterproof, it's like Ranger camo being green. I don't know, I really love it. I think we did the good job in updating this design. But let me know what you think. Did you like this one? Do you like the updates? Would you go about it differently? Leave it in the comment section below. I'd really love to know what you do with this one. It is really cool to kind of like see how far along you've come with these type of skills or like trying different things or different ways to go about it. It just kind of expands your brain a little bit and makes you think of all the different things you'd want to do. So a huge thank you to my Patreon community for voting on this one. I had a lot of fun with it and it's dead useful. I'm going to use it. Also a huge thank you to our Discord community. If you're not part of that yet, you totally need to jump in. This is an incredible community of amazing makers who are constantly making new things, helping each other with projects, or otherwise just kind of goofing off or giving me hell. They really love to give me hell there. Anyways, we'd love to have you, so definitely check it out. Link in the description below. All right, I'm gonna get going. It's winter time and I'm gonna put on my cape and wander around outside a little bit. You know, like a perfectly sane person. In the meantime though, keep leveling up, you. You've made it to the end screen. YouTube loves it when you do that, and it's a fantastic way to support this channel. Another fantastic way to support this channel is by joining these people's noble ranks. These are our Patreon members, and we could not do this without them. And an extra special thank you to our Grandmaster tier Patreons, WildFox99, Froggy, and Dragon Designs. If you like what we do here and want to support us in that way, consider joining our Patreon, link in the description below. Otherwise, you can click on one of these videos here YouTube thinks you'd like, and that helps out a lot too. Now, if you don't mind, I'm gonna have more snacks. They really are very good. Oh, so crunchy. Hot damn, that's good. What is up?